And we're also recognizing this week National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, my apologies, which is really recognizing our dispatchers in our local area. And here in West Bloomfield, they have a unique number of responsibilities that help across the board in public safety.
Yes, absolutely. And specifically, the greater West Bloomfield community recognizes its dedicated dispatchers around the area that are actually helping to connect residents of the area to our first responders. And actually joining us to talk a little bit more about that job specifically, we have dispatch manager of the West Bloomfield Police Department, but for all the areas here in our community, we have Jennifer Curran joining the Splash Live. Thank you so much for joining us, Jennifer.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So we are celebrating, I want to make sure I'm saying National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, essentially. It's observed to honor the vital role of telecommunications personnel and public safety agencies. What can you explain more the role of the telecommunications personnel in public safety, aka dispatching?
Yeah, so our dispatchers answer both 911 and non-emergency calls. They handle paperwork for our officers. We are running people through various systems. We are handling phone calls for our police and fire departments. We also here in West Bloomfield dispatch for Orchard Lake, Kego Harbor, and Sylvan Lake. So we're managing all 4 cities at one time.
Mm-hmm.
They are trained in medical instructions, like giving CPR and the Heimlich maneuver over the phone to people if it's needed. And this is a 24/7 room within our building. So they are here day in and day out, nights, weekends, holidays, managing that stuff for our citizens.
Okay, you just gave a mouthful right there. I want to kind of pick that apart if you don't
Yeah.
mind me. The first thing that just came to mind is you said they are trained to give instructions for CPR or the Heimlich maneuver over the phone.
Yep.
Explain that process or that training, like how that seems a little bit difficult to do over the phone. Can you explain that, please?
It can be. So what happens is when they are in training here, learning how to become a dispatcher, we send them to a training. It's a nationally certified program where they learn how to go through the steps of giving certain medical instructions over the phone. We have a program built into our computer that will also help them walk through those instructions. So when we get a call for a subject not breathing, they are taught to explain to the caller how to monitor for a pulse, check for breathing. And then we are taught how to explain to the caller how to give CPR. So what we can do is help the callers work through CPR until police or fire can get there to take over.
That's an interesting piece of information because I didn't know that. I don't know if everyone is privy to that information that you can get that from calling a dispatch. So, okay, with that being said, is there a difference between calling dispatch directly or calling 911 and getting to dispatch through that way? Like, is there a difference if you did need to call dispatch for those instructions?
The biggest difference is 911 will route you wherever you're at geographically. Calling a non-emergency line or our 10-digit number, as we call it, you will get us directly. 911 will get you where you're at geographically. So if you're in another city, obviously don't call us. Call 911, get to that city you're at. But within the West Bloomfield area, if you call 911, it's coming to us.
Interesting. Thank you for providing that clarification first and foremost. So we're talking about National Public Safety Communications Week here with dispatch manager Jennifer Curran of the West Bloomfield Police Department in the greater West Bloomfield area, I should say. Why do you think it's important that we highlight the work of our dispatchers? Why should people be aware of the work of dispatchers? I know you know as a manager, please make that known to the community now.
I think a big part of it is there's a scope of this job that the public doesn't always realize is happening. We get these calls while the person is immediately experiencing whatever it is they're going through. We walk them through it. We stay on the line with them. We help give them whatever support we're able to. Sometimes it's very little more than just staying on the phone and talking to them. Our hands are tied in the respect of we're not physically there to help them, but we can help them emotionally, mentally until help can get there to help them. So there is a element of it that is often not discussed because we go through it as well with the people as they are immediately experiencing these things.
Yeah, and see, that's one of those sides, like you said, people don't necessarily realize when you're dealing with these first responder calls, or you're in that line where you have to actually go and take care of things that are happening in the community. You have to deal with that trauma that people are dealing with firsthand. Like
Mhm.
my girlfriend is a nurse, so she has to deal with that type of stuff firsthand. My friend's a firefighter, first responders, firsthand. And it's a
Yes.
whole nother level of mentality that you have to deal with. You have to try to leave that at home. I mean, leave that at work so you don't take it home. I could
Yeah.
just yeah, can you speak to that, please?
It's hard. What happens is because that emotion is there, you hear it in the voices of the callers, you hear it in the situations. You know, we have families, we have kids, we relate to those things. We feel the pain that the callers are going through, and it's hard not to take it home sometimes because you hear that voice in your head, you hear that fear, that stress. What makes it better and brings us the joy is when we hear the relief when it's better. You
Right,
can
right.
hear it get better. We hear the outcomes. They'll share with us what happened. It makes it better. We know we helped.
hmm
And it makes us feel pride in what we're doing.
That's good. That's good too. And we just recently heard of the upgrade to the radio systems within Oakland County with the
Mhm.
P25 radio system. So I would imagine that would help out with the dispatching as well in some sort of way. But and kind of speaking on that, can you speak on any other challenges that your dispatchers may currently face right now during emergencies?
So, our biggest challenge, and it's a blessing and a challenge at the same time, is all of the emerging technology. There's so much technology out there, and they try to find different ways to incorporate it into a
Right.
dispatch center to make us more effective. Um, it's a blessing and a curse because it gives us so much more information, but it's more stuff we have to learn and train on. If it doesn't work, we got to fix it. But overall, it brings us so much more effective call taking skills and dispatching abilities.
That's good. That's good. That's good. I want so let's go back to the actual process.
Mhm.
Is it I'm in a situation, I need help, so I call 911, and all of a sudden I speak to you and you just like forward me to a first responder? Can you just quickly go through the process of how it works with us calling 911, getting to a dispatcher, and then getting to a first responder?
So, what happens is you would call us. We get your location. What is it that's going on? Do you need police, fire, or medical? We have a dispatching system. We call it a CAD system that we put your information into. Based on that, whether you need police, fire, or medical, we will
Mhm.
dispatch the right resources. The fire department goes out based on your area within West Bloomfield, different stations for different areas. So we send that specific station. We will send a specific officer to the area you're in. And given the nature of the call, if needed, we will stay on the line with you until they get there. And then they can take over in person. Otherwise, we'll disconnect and we'll send the units out to you that you need.
Yeah, yeah. Play so many different hats: a therapist, like we said, a first responder, someone who a great community. I mean, not community service, but customer service in some sort of way. There's so many different hats that you wear as dispatchers, but you are the middleman, or the first people we speak to anytime anything happens before we even get to the first responder. So I want to take this time to take my hat off to say thank your team for everything that you do. Do you have any last words that you want to give to the community and inform us on?
Just that we appreciate your support as a community. You guys are beyond supportive of our department and our dispatchers. It is greatly appreciated, and we take all that love and we give it back to you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. And we appreciate that. Thank you again, Jennifer Curran, the West Bloomfield Police Department Dispatch Manager, talking about the role of dispatchers during National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. Say that 3 times fast. Thank
All
you
right.
again, Jennifer.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.